my goodness, another amazing new band here on La Dosis and ladosis.com online as well. Today, we are blessed with both Kat and Nick from the amazing group Holy Wars. Thank you guys so much for taking your time with us today. We are super, super appreciative of you guys being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So first question that I have to ask, because this happened yesterday, right? Um, what what thoughts may you guys have on the passing of the Prince of Darkness yesterday? Uh, I don't, it's different for everybody. What kind of influence, or what's your thoughts, reaction on Ozzy no longer being with us?
It's definitely surreal, of course. Like you always know a day like this is coming, but you feel the loss, right? Like you definitely feel how much it just hits everything. But obviously, he left so much amazing music for everybody. I mean, but you were really into the last performance, so you were really shook that he just performed.
Yeah, it's incredible that he was just performing 2 weeks ago and that was the last concert. So I think it's bittersweet for sure.
Mhm.
But I think it's probably exactly how he would have wanted to go, you know. It's
Mhm.
pretty incredible. But yeah, he was amazing.
It was a beautiful send off, that's for sure.
Yeah, it seems super fitting, right? Like, hey, you know what? Here's my last concert. No, not only is it going to be broadcast globally, they're also going to raise $190 million for charity in the process. And it's like, especially when it's like, oh, rock is dead. Yeah, bullshit. How many people watch that? And we're talking about that all over. So it's like the perfect, like, just a perfect karmic send off to be like, hey, man, cool. Thank you. And like, yes, as you said, like the music will always live on, which is beautiful.
I mean, that's the thing, you're right. When you become such a legend that, you're immortalized forever.
Yeah. All right. So, what was your most recent show that you guys had as Holy Wars? When was the last time you guys played a live gig?
Recently, last June, we just got back from a Europe tour.
Yeah. Yeah, we did a run with our friends in the band Kitty.
hmm
And we did some festivals. We did like a whole kind of festival run and club run in Europe, which was kind of our first time doing that,
hmm
and it was amazing.
Yeah, we ended in Germany. So our last show was Hamburg, Germany.
Awesome. Very, very. And what was it like to tour with Kitty? They've been around for a minute.
They're incredible. I mean, and we were sharing a bus with them too, so we got like the full Kitty experience. And of course, we've been fans, but like to have this personal friendship with them has just been amazing. I mean, it's really cool when you see people that you respect and you admire so much, but they are so down to earth and they're just such a fun hang. So yeah, I mean, we had a great time touring with them, but I would say hanging with them was even better.
Yeah, they're really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're having a lot of fun. They're enjoying playing shows and being back, and the response they've been getting is really cool.
hmm
Yeah, so it was great and going out with them. Yeah, they sound so good too. Yeah.
hmm
Very cool. What was the highlight of this European tour? Was there a
Gosh.
show that stood out that was like, oh my God, this one show was like, wow.
I would say so download in the UK, like that's the one where everyone's like download our whole label and booking agents, everybody came out for that one. So we already knew that one was going to be great and the response from the fans it was incredible. But the biggest surprise was the Czech Republic that we were playing in a tent and we didn't know if we had any listenership there. And it's almost like the ones that you don't really have a lot of pressure on, or the ones you don't really think is going to be that big, end up amazing you. So the tent was completely full. The reaction, people screaming and singing along, we were just all completely thrown in a good way. So I would say the Czech Republic at Rock for People was definitely top tier for the whole band.
Very cool. Very, very cool. We always like to get to know everybody when we do a podcast. It's, there's a lot of different facets to the wonderful world of how you guys get to where you're at. This question is for both of you respectfully. Kat, so both of you to answer all the questions. So is there like a song or an artist when you were like a little kid that you remember thinking like, oh my God, I love this song. I want to hear it. I want to sing it all the time. Could be Happy Birthday. Think like a was there like a moment where you were like, oh my God, that song?
Oh my gosh. I mean, yeah, there's so many. I mean, I would say the earliest memories because my parents raised me on 50s music and 60s. So Elvis Presley was like my introduction into music. So definitely. But I would say once I was older and really started kind of to find my own identity in music, Radiohead was the first band that really made me want to start writing poetry and lyrics. And yeah, I can name so many songs that gave me that. I have to hear this over and over. I mean, Karma Police, but it was Fake Plastic Trees. I think that really cut me to the core. And then Exit Music for a Film. So, like, not Exit Music, especially, is not really a well-known one unless you're a fan. So, those songs in particular made me want to explore writing. So, I would say that.
Very cool. That's my favorite. If I was writing for Rolling Stone, or personally, probably my favorite album of all time. Like that, I could just listen to, just okay, sure, okay, computer's on.
It's
Yeah,
I agree. And every time I answer to like, and if people are like, what's your favorite album? I'm like, I know I'm going to sound like a cliche, but it really is one of the best albums of all time. There's
yeah,
nothing.
yeah.
So,
No, totally. Nick, what about yourself? When you were like a little kid, was there like a track or a song or a moment where you were like, "Oh my God, what is this?"
I think that when I was first getting into music, it would have been the first Weezer album. That album, I remember just being just obsessed with that, and I still listen to it. It still holds up, just like OK Computer still holds up. I don't know how that's
mhm.
possible. You can still put it on and listen to it. But probably before that would have probably been like uh, theme songs from like TV shows or cartoons or something like that. It
Really?
was like that.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I was fortunate to get to see Weezer doing the Blue Album tour last year, where they played the entire Blue Album, and it was an entirety. It was just cool. It's a classic record as well. Very, very cool.
Mhm.
What was and I want to get back into. Oh, well, I'm curious, Nick. Like, what about from the cartoon aspects of songs? Was there one in particular that you were like, "Oh my God, I love this theme song"? Because I wanted to get into that later when you guys did some writing for Fox and stuff for like jingles and trailers and whatnot. So, what was the track that like you would think from your memory was like, "Oh man, I remember this song. I could do this."
Yeah. The first one that comes to mind is probably the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 'cause that one was very repetitive. It was just saying that over and over again, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Um, but yeah, I guess that kind of connects to like the writing for film and TV is like that simplicity,
Mhm.
it's so catchy to be like that simple and repetitive, you
Mhm.
know.
Turtles in a half shell. Very, very cool. Nick, what was the first time that you remember picking up an instrument and saying, you know what, I want to try to mess around with this?
Um, First time, um, yeah, it probably would have been around that time when I was listening to the Blue album, and I grew up in Las Vegas, and there was like a really cool punk scene there, and a lot of my friends were kind of getting into music. I had a friend that had a drum kit. I had a friend that had a guitar, and he would bring his guitar over, and then sometimes he wouldn't bring his guitar, and I would say, "Hey, make sure you bring your guitar over." And then eventually, like he would just bring the guitar over, and I would just play it, and then he would play my video games and stuff. And then after a while, then I was just thinking like, okay, this is something I'm really into.
Very cool. And Kat, what about yourself? When were you like, you know what? Did you learn to play an instrument first, or did you just start singing? How did that start?
Well, I did start singing first and it didn't go well. So I had a
Why,
friend.
why did it go well? What happened?
It was terrible. You're either born with it. I learned it. I taught myself how to sing, so I wasn't gifted. I was a born dancer, so I always danced competitively. And it was about sixth grade. I had a best friend who was like, I'm from Connecticut, so we had a lot of Broadway people living, close by in Connecticut. So she was a singer and was incredible. And I don't know, I think I just had so much like admiration for her that I was like, I think I'm going to be a singer too. with no training, no nothing. And I did like a talent show and it was god awful. Like I ran off stage. So it was not great. But I didn't let that falter me. So I then started to write poetry thanks to Radiohead. And I was really, yeah, I was really inspired about writing words and I cared more about that. So then I started writing, or I started going to piano classes. So I was a pianist. I haven't really picked up a guitar until way later in my life. But yeah, so I kind of was that trajectory of dancing to singing, failing at that, writing poetry, then piano, and then back to singing. And then because I really just wanted to write a melody to the words, because words are so important to me. So yeah, and then I went to vocal lessons and I trained myself to be a much better singer than I was at 10 years old. But yeah.
You're amazing now, so don't even worry about that from back then. So I was reading about how you guys formed, and apparently, and you guys correct me where this is, off. That Cat, you had put out auditions in around 2011 to like start to form a band, and then Nick was like, he showed up, and then you guys were like, "Fuck yeah, let's go." How did that go about?
Yeah, I mean it was kind of it was actually Alice Cooper first. I did a like a little thing on this reality show and I was so, I was new, practically new to LA and just very young and, knew nothing about nothing. And yeah, Alice Cooper heard me sing and he was like, "Oh, you should start a band." So I kind of just followed his advice because I figured if Alice Cooper tells you to be a singer, you probably should just head down that path and see how it goes. And so I asked him, I was like, okay, well, if I do this, like, what do I do? So he gave me some good advice to get started. And MI was a school I was really interested in going to, which is a very, really good school here in Hollywood. And I had a friend there, and at that time I wasn't going there because I was like, "Oh, this is too expensive. I can't afford this." But we put an ad out, and he responded to the ad, and we it would be a long time before Holy War started, but we were playing around LA and just writing a lot of music and just really getting to know each other and figure out what we even want to write and who, like, what our musical identity even is, which is a very much the two of us. So.
Nick, what sold you on like saying, you know what, I want to work with you. Let's do this.
Oh yeah. At the time I was looking for a band to play with, and you come across these postings from different groups and different artists, and they would sound great, and then you would show up to the recording would sound great, the picture would look like everybody looks super cool, and then you would show up in person and then they didn't sound like that and they didn't look like that, and then you started to kind of realize that like, oh wow, it's really hard to find something that is I guess more honest, and when I heard Kat's music and her voice, I was so impressed. And then I showed up and she sounded exactly like that and she looked just like the photo. And that was the kind of the first time I'd come across that. That was like, oh, this is so honest, and that's exactly who she is.
Hmm.
Very, very cool. That's awesome. Okay, the TV trailer. So I saw that you guys were doing TV trailers. How did that come about? And like, what was that like? How did that start off where you guys were like, okay, let's do this?
That actually started when we started writing music before Holy Wars because we had a song that we wrote and it was acoustic version that the VP of Fox ended up hearing. Her daughter was a fan and came to see us at a show, and that unexpectedly got placed into Bones. So that was the first time we were like, "Oh wait, like your song can get on a television show and you can make money?" Like, wait, what is this? So we had like an early experience of what that was like, but we were very much like we don't write music for television like that. Just like that was for the bands or what we were writing at that time. So it would be until 2018 when we started to kind of look around after we started Holy Wars, and we were like, there's so many other styles of music that we also enjoy, but as an artist project, you have to kind of be very um, you have to have a perspective and you have to kind of be very cohesive with the type of music you put out. So we love hip hop and we love pop and we love trailers. And, to me, trailers is very much like musical theater with like the drama and, the suspense and just how that's carried through. So we started writing music and we ended up calling that same person and it was like, hey, I wanted to do this for real. Could you give us any advice? So she invited us to the Fox lot and literally told us, this is how you write a trailer song. This is the type of themes. And we went home, did the homework, and worked our butts off. And yeah, we wrote some trailer songs and pitched it to a few different companies. And I think just one thing led to another. And if you do the work and if it's good and if you're passionate about it, it hopefully works out. So in that case, it did.
Like, were there any like more commercially known trailers that people would be like, holy shit, they did that? Like that.
Oh
That
yeah, we've done several. Some of it we were lucky enough to get Holy Wars, where the we were the theme song of the WWE Hell in a Cell. But I under my solo name, which is more that type of music, I've done American Horror Story. We've done like Max trailers, some
Yeah.
cool documentaries.
Netflix, Amazon,
Yeah.
some really cool car commercials.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it's sometimes we'll be listening to a show or unexpectedly we'll hear our song and then or we'll just it's just the nature of how things work. Like you don't always know ahead of time that it's going to be in something. You find out afterwards.
Mhm.
So we'll start getting flooded with messages. I love your site. I found you guys because of this video game. And then we'll be like, what is this? What are they talking about? And then we'll find it and be like, wow, this is amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. It's been really exciting actually, and it makes you look at your music differently when somebody a really talented editor puts together like a super cool cut of your song and
Mhm.
with this incredible footage. It makes it seem so exciting, you know.
Mhm.
very, very cool. And so I apologize for the next question because I don't know. That's what I'm so happy to ask you guys is, was the song Legend ever used for a soundtrack? When I heard that, I was like, holy shit, this sounds like it should be the opener of a film or a series. And it seemed like it was perfect for some sort of cinematic atmosphere. Has that ever been like in soundtracks that I'm not aware of?
That one, I think it was in Amazon Prime, like one of those trailers where they do like a mashup of their shows. That's the only one that I'm aware of that it was in. But like he said, sometimes it's also shown internationally that I have no idea the song is out.
Right.
The company that we work with, they're working really hard at getting it out. But that one we initially wrote for a potential trailer. And we were thinking about putting it under my solo name, but I was so passionate about it that I really wanted it to be a Holy Wars song. And it's not always a perfect fit. And usually that's the only thing him and I kind of have a back and forth about, where he's like, it should just be this. But I'm like, I really want it to be a Holy Wars song. So we chose it to be a Holy Wars song. And I would have thought it would have gotten a little bit more syncs, but you never know. I mean, it probably will for until the end of time. But yeah.
Never know, right? You never know how it comes back around. Um,
Yeah.
songwriting process. How do you guys go about writing songs together? Is it just kind of like an organic thing, or do you guys kind of separate time where like in a given week or something where you guys are like, all right, it's songwriting time, let's go to town? How do you guys go about doing that?
He's better about scheduling that. I'm a little bit more ADHD.
Yeah, we've been writing music together for a while, so
Mhm.
we've at some points it was easy, and then some points it was hard, and now I think that we've got a really nice balance with it. Like I know there's certain times of the
Mhm.
day for her that are better to work on music because aside from writing the music for this band, she handles a lot of the other really important responsibilities. So
Mhm.
if I can get her right after she's done phone calls and emails,
Editing a video.
yeah, all that stuff, and I say, okay, from 11 to 2, let's get like the idea down. And now what we do that's really helpful is if we're planning on writing one song, we write like three quick ideas, and
Mhm.
just up until like maybe the second chorus, as quickly as we can. We'll try and do like three ideas,
Mhm.
and then from those three, the next day we'll pick, or later that day we'll pick which is the best of those three, and then that's the one that we'll finish. That's taken a while to get to that process because
Mhm.
we used to it used to be so hard to like not see an idea come to completion.
Mhm.
But if we can just do three ideas and we do them quick, it's not so painful if they don't happen. So that's kind of the process now. And then getting a song done can take a few days because the music has gotten really huge and really massive. So getting the entire thing done takes a few days, but that's usually the process, more or less. And it starts
That
with a
it seems like an effective filtering funnel way to like, okay, we have to get, and that's kind of like what into the next question I was going to ask you, Cap. I read that you're a gigantic fan of psychology in general, right? And like thinker, like I'm a big nerd as well, so that's awesome. When you're writing material, how do you deal with that when like I'm guilty myself, right? Of like, holy shit, but there's 17 different things, and I like, how do you like compartmentalize everything for the track where you're like, okay, this is the route that we're gonna go. Is like how this is just from your process personally.
For the song, I always, like he said, like we start now with a concept, which really helps keep me in line on that perspective. Because yeah, I have so many thoughts, and I have so many like journal writings that sometimes I'm like, oh, I love this lyric and I love that lyric, and these two worlds can live in the same song, but we've kind of learned like actually those would have been two really great separate songs. So but yeah, I do my best to just keep my thoughts focused. It's not always easy, but yeah, I think having a concept that just keeps me in the straight line really helps with that, because if you just sit down, you're like, what do I want to write about? That could be a very beautiful process because you're letting your subconscious talk at that moment and you're not like forcing a certain topic. But and that has worked for me in the past for sure, but there have been many times where I'll just write that, leave it because I'll know we're going to have another session where he's going to be like, "Okay, what do you got?" Because it usually starts with that, and then, he's got so many riffs he can just pull out. So, and it's not always, we have to find the perfect one for the tone, but it's usually starting with something I want to speak about first, whether I wrote it in that moment or I wrote it months ago. So, I hope that
Very
answers.
cool. That's awesome that you guys have that awesome relationship where you can tell that the love is there, where it's like, okay, let's lovingly help each other or like guide into like here's where we're gonna go. That's awesome. That's very, very cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Um
many years writing
just
together, so we learned like a really good balance of like how to make the other person shine and also what's best for the song because that's what we're here to service. So,
all right, let's get into some amazing tracks. The single "I Can't Feel a Thing" from the 2017 debut AP, the EP for Mother Father. I love that it's like the perfect example of like modern alternative music per se, right? Like it's awesome. It sounds like I don't know, maybe what Sonic Youth would sound like now if they started or something to that effect. How did that track come about?
wow, that was a long time ago. I remember the apartment we were in when we wrote it. That one took a while to figure out, but because we wrote Back to Life first and then Orphan, but that one, weren't you listening to Queens of the Stone Age a lot at the
Yeah,
time?
a lot of Queens, but also Autolux. I don't
Oh
know if you
yeah.
know the band Autolux. They're really amazing, and they
Mhm.
do kind of a lot of similar drum and bass kind of patterns. And then so we were really hyped on that. And
Mhm.
my friend Joel had borrowed us this bass. At the time, we didn't own a bass. It was this five-string bass that you could play that kind of cool low riff on, and
Mhm.
that was one of the first things that I came up with. And it's not like me to write something and then not keep editing it and tweaking it over and over again. It's that usually it's very much like me to keep changing it and rewriting
Obsessing.
and obsessing over it. But that one came together actually immediately, and she liked it, and
Mhm.
luckily I didn't mess that one up. And then the drum pattern too came together pretty quickly, And then that time when we were writing music, uh, in some ways it was difficult, but in some ways it was a bit easier. That is a song that I think if we did that today, it would end up very different.
Hmm.
But at the time, like, that was pretty fun to make, you know?
Yeah. Lyrically, I remember I was really angry. I mean, I just, went through the biggest loss I would have ever experienced and have experienced. But yeah, I think, yeah, to me, like that song it's so visceral, but it's freeing in some way, so it kind of gives me this like anger, but it also makes me feel free within that emotion and just allowing myself to just be there in that moment in time. So it's kind of why we made it a callback to it.
Did you feel that same type of emotion when you were writing Orphan and Mother, Father as well, or were those both under different emotional themes at the time for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, definitely we wrote all of those around the same time. So I was, in those stages of grief, but because,
Mhm.
those songs were written before we released them, obviously, but my parents passed 2 years before that. So, and we completely stopped doing music altogether. So there was like a chunk of time where we didn't write a single song. I wanted nothing to do with it. But I do know Back to Life was definitely more of that like weighted feeling and like almost like you're walking through mud. And that's kind of why I think even the way I sang it in those verses, it's almost like I had just mud in my mouth. At least that's what I feel like when I hear that song again. But Orphan, there was some anger there for sure. Because, I say heads will roll. It's definitely an homage to the Yayas, but at the same time, it was like, because I was listening to the Yayas and a lot during that time, and they were like my healing source to get me through the death of my parents. And that's why I chose to highlight that, because it was like an Easter egg for myself. But also, I really meant it in that moment where I was just so angry because I was, walking around and, kind of like what we're all feeling today. Like there's so much trouble going on in the world, but like we're also at the same time, people are still going to the store and buying eggs, and you still have to move forward in life. And at that time, my whole world was completely over, but I felt this pressure to keep moving forward because the rest of the world around me was. So a lot of that anger and turmoil came from that feeling. I do remember that very clearly.
Shifting to the next EP, which was the Battery Life, you guys have some tracks that kind of take Holy Wars into a new sound, right? Because Little Gods and Get Mine and like have like a different feel to it. And then I'm Messy and Bolt to the Head are still like a newer, modern hybrid alternative. How did the songwriting for that EP, which a lot of the stuff came out on, I think all of it for Eat It Up, Spit It Out, the first album, how did that go?
That one I feel like was piecemeal together a bit more because we wrote a lot of songs over a few years.
Yeah. What sort of happened was after we did Mother Father, it was kind of hard to figure out what to write when
Yeah.
Kat knew that she wasn't gonna do another EP that was exactly like the previous one. We felt like we had to start doing some new stuff, but like it was difficult to figure out what that should be. And then also, we were excited by a lot of new music. So we were just at that time just allowing ourselves to do anything and everything that we wanted. So as when we did Little Gods, that was like, wow, the response to that was bigger than any response that we've gotten previously to the music. And now when we played the song live, the response was different too. So that was a really interesting time writing music that would get this kind of more amped up
Instant reaction.
yeah, energetic response that the first time we were writing like bangers, and then trying to figure out like how do we write a song that's kind of a banger and has this big energetic feeling to it and gets this response that we want, but also we don't want to lose the mother-father emotion and like the sincerity. So that next era is us just kind of trying some stuff, and and some of our favorite songs we've written during that period.
Yeah.
Very cool. Your book of Tainted Love is amazing. How did that come about?
That was that was another one where I was like, I want this to be a Holy War song. That was written for a trailer, and we collaborated with our friend Alex, who's an amazing producer, but he really lives in that trailer world. He doesn't write rock music like Nick's a rock producer. But yeah, we it was getting so I think that at that time we were writing Little Gods, Get Mine. We were writing songs that had a lot more of that shouty riot girl energy that I really love that I can showcase my voice on Tainted Love. And we didn't have something like that as like at that time in Holy Wars. So selfishly, I wanted two versions of the song. So we have like the non-Holy Wars version and then we have the Holy Wars version. And yeah, it's one of those things that we just put it out with no real plan and just like, yeah, we'll just release this and see if people care. And yeah, like I'm always getting tagged in videos of people doing dance routines to it or like pole dances to it. So it's been living on in its own right. But it's interesting because when you go to our most popular songs on a streaming platform, it's kind of high up there, but it really is the only song that sounds like that. So
Yeah, no, but it's absolutely well done. Um, Classic EP from 2023. It feels like takes Holy Wars into like another level of sound and bigger tracks. Obviously, Ex Machina. Venom seems like it is a sick live show banger. How was writing Cult Classic?
our drummer would love you for that because his favorite song to play live is Venom, and it always ends up getting cut because we have, you know,
For whatever reason, when we're trying to fine tune the set and we're cutting it close on time, seems to be the one that gets cut.
yeah, he's like, okay, guys, I'm starting to take this personally. But yeah, we started playing live a lot. That was like the difference. You know, obviously every time we explore, you know, we always evolve our sound and our songwriting gets more evolved, our producing gets more evolved. So it's natural that like the sound would kind of shift and kind of shape shift a little bit in like different genres. But we really noticed when we started touring on the Eat It Up, Spit It Out album, and that was our first time actually touring. You know, we played the Los Angeles music area a lot, but not so much out in the world. So when we started to do that, we were getting the same reaction in every city where people were like, "Oh, I was, you know, I checked out your music and I'm really excited to see it because we were opening for other bands at the time." But they were like, "But live, you guys are so much more energetic and you're so heavy, but your recorded music doesn't really showcase that." And they were kind of asking us like, "How come?" And we were like, I don't know. We thought it did. So we really took that good feedback and took it to heart and really try to figure out, well, why is that? And we learned like, okay, well, let's take the music heavier. And instead of the approach to writing a song where we would just want to write a song and not think about the audience in a live show aspect, now we started to think about how do we want people in the room to move and what do we want them to feel, and that automatically changed the dynamics of the song, the tempos of the song, the way he produced it, the drop tunings, and that's how Cult Classic, the EP, was created, was with that perspective.
Awesome. Body Temple is one of my favorite tracks that you guys have. You guys have a lot of awesome music, but I love Body Temple. What was writing that song and producing that track? How did that come about? It feels like a symphonic melding of a lot of the previous material, like into like almost like a new compact version of Holy Wars. How can you tell us about that track?
That took a couple of tries because I think
Yeah,
you reproduced that one a few times.
yeah, that one I really went down the rabbit hole with that one and got really too I got lost in there for sure. There was this there the final straw. She said, Kat says, "This song is going out to mix tonight. When I wake up in the morning, I don't want to hear any excuses. This
Is
song,
that what I said? I
yeah,
remember
I
that
said,
one.
this song, I need to see this song in my email. Like, I want to be copied on this email that this is sent out tonight." And so I
Mhm.
said, "Okay, I really mean it. This time it's the song's going out. I'm not gonna keep rewriting it. And
Hmm.
but like the intro guitar thing, like the main hook of the song, that all happened at like 4 o'clock in the morning. That was like one of the very last things that it came up with, and now it's like one of the main parts of the song. But
Hmm.
that came at like really at like the final hour, as I was finishing the song. But yeah, I love that one too. I think that was one where we were really trying to execute all the things that we're talking about now. A song that works live, that
Hmm.
also utilizes some of the things that we've done in the past, that is also catchy, has the emotion, has an original concept with the body tempo. And that song is super fun to play live. So every time we play that, we're super proud that like, oh yeah, we did it on this one. And then
Yeah.
like the bridge of the song, the bridge breakdown is always so fun to play. So yes, we're very proud of that one.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. After that, was this kind of like a scenario with Tainted Love Cat where you kind of wanted to do some vocal stuff when you did the collab with Vanek for the song Sacrifice?
Oh yeah. So Vanek reached out to us and was saying, he's a fan of the band and yeah, wanted me to just feature and write some top line on his track. So he sent it over and it was pretty easy. I mean, I feel like I wrote it and recorded it in a day and I was like this and he came back. I was like, I love it. And then of course he went in there and kind of remixed it and did what he does so well. So yeah, and that track came out great. So I was really proud of it.
Very, very cool. All right, let's get to now. Last single this past May, I Feel Everything. Oh my God, amazing, amazing, amazing. Tell us about how you guys went about writing that track. It is a masterpiece.
Thank you. It's definitely one of our favorites. Well, it's a callback to I Can't Feel a Thing, and we really wanted that to be, we haven't released any music since 2023, so on Cult Classic EP. So we really wanted to start this next phase with that one. And it was mainly you. You kind of said like, you wanted to find that place of emotion again, like we had with the Mother Father EP and give chills again. So I think I Feel Everything was the second song we wrote.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really
Yeah.
early on, and we're definitely writing with like a very specific mindset,
Hmm.
like she said, we wanted to make sure that we're bringing back that emotion, and we're going to be very, very direct about the type of emotion that we're trying to get across. We're going to allow ourselves to keep pushing the sound more than we had even in the past. And we're not going to be limited to like we don't want to be too much this
Hmm.
or we can't stop doing this thing because everybody loves this, but even though maybe we're tired of doing that. So
Hmm.
that song was actually came together in a similar way as I Can't Feel a Thing.
Hmm.
Like wrote the bass part and I showed it to her and she was like, I love that. It's
Hmm.
usually a good sign when she comes in and she's like, oh, what's that?
Yeah, if I
And
hear it in the other room and I'm like, oh, I hope that's something for us.
yeah, and that was one too that like I didn't mess that one up. I didn't keep rewriting it. She liked it how it was, and
Hmm.
then we had the concept,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. So interesting enough, we had the concept before I would go through another loss. So we started writing the song, and then my sister passed away unexpectedly last uh, June. And yeah, so we finished it with that perspective because, the first song was written about the loss of my parents. And then now I Feel Everything. We already knew we wanted to bring that type of energy back, but then I finished writing the lyrics for that after my sister passed. So it's kind of like I'm brought back to the very beginning of what even started this band in the first place, which was, this body of work as like a way of healing. And then now I'm right back there 10 years later from my parents and now experiencing my sister. So there's so much emotion and loss and grief and everything in the DNA of that song now that, when we put it out, we want it to be for the person listening to it, but I'm very honest with our fans about why I write what I write. So I did, expose that that was very much a part of that song. And I got some really heartfelt feedback from people that were also going through a loss or, or still feeling a loss that they went through years ago, because grief doesn't really go away, it just kind of stays within you, but you kind of move forward. So yeah, that's the that's how I feel everything.
Beautiful. It's also seems like a very beautiful way to immortalize a lot of the people that you love and that you miss from tragedy in song when I what does it feel like not fulfilling, that's not the right word, but like, okay, like does it like somewhat like does it ease what are the emotions that you feel when you get the fan mail or when you see fans singing along and knowing that like it's because they know what you're writing about? Like how does that give an additional sense of or does it bring it back more in a negative space?
No, it's definitely not negative. I mean, I really, it's, my parents were average people. Nobody would have known they existed besides our small, community that knew them. So that was my way of kind of making them forever, keeping them forever in music, even if, I'm not saying their names in the song, but they're very much woven through the DNA of every song I write because, I live with that. I live with that hole in my heart for them every day and missing them every day. So even if I'm writing a song about something else, like my parents and now my sister is very much in there. But yeah, I just keep going on for them because they were my biggest supporters and my sister was a dancer and that's why I was a dancer because she was she taught me everything. So I feel like this, like, I don't know, like this, I have to keep moving on and getting this music out there for them. It's because they can't do it. And she couldn't do it herself. And, she got sick. And then, yeah, my parents. So it's all in there. It's all heavy and beautiful at the same time.
You guys are set to release another track in a couple of days. You have Crucify coming. What can we expect for this new track from Holy Wars?
Oh, I think that one's closer to the banger status, right?
Yeah, this one, when we started writing, after taking a little bit of writing break, when we started getting back into writing, we were playing festivals, and we spent some time in Nashville,
Mhm.
uh, and mostly we write everything on our own. That is kind of the most natural way to do stuff. But we got connected with Cody Quistad from Wage War,
Mhm.
and we're both big fans of his work. So we met with him,
Mhm.
and we came up with something really cool with
Yeah.
him, and it's very, very, yeah, we're excited for people to hear it.
It's
Yeah.
it's cutting. That I had some lyrics. And that one is actually about, I've never written about an ex-lover ever. I've never written a breakup song. I've never even written a love song. But that one, yeah, like I had a toxic, abusive relationship deep in my past. And the last thing this person ever told me was, I wish you nothing but the worst because I was trying to get out of that situation. And, it was just one of the many tactics to keep me in that bad situation. And then within that year, my parents died. So like I held like this the heaviness and like I kept those words in my energy for all this time as if it was a curse. And of course I know logically like my mom was sick and my dad clearly had a heart problem nobody knew about. So, that's just a tragedy that happened naturally, but I became a fearful person and very superstitious since that experience. So I wanted to write this song about that and kind of taking my power back. So it's very cutting, it's very mean, it's very aggressive, but it's again, it's meant to be empowering, it's meant to be freeing. So when I explained that to Cody, he was like, I'm in. Let's fucking do this. So him and I wrote, I had some already, some lyrics already I had written that he liked, and we added a lot of it onto it together. And then you played something on I think it was the bass or the guitar that also started the whole thing that he loved.
Yeah.
So it was a really, I think we
It
wrote the song in 2 hours.
yeah, it
Oh
was
wow.
Yeah.
maybe like getting the song to where it's at now took a much more time, but like most of the idea of the song came together in I think 2 hours.
Hmm.
So uh, probably one of the quicker songs that we've ever written, even though again like all of like the extra stuff that like we like to add took a while, but it came together really
Hmm.
quick, and I think for that reason it has a really cool feeling to it that makes it really fun to listen to.
Hmm.
Very cool. And so what are we getting from you guys next? Are you guys prepping songs for another EP drop? Are you gonna wait for every like a bunch of tracks to release a new album? What are you guys thinking? What can we expect?
I wish I could tell you everything right now, but our manager Rachel will literally kill me. So, um,
Fair enough. Totally
I
fair
would
enough.
say there's going to be a lot of music coming out. So
Awesome.
we have been working all last year and wrote a lot. So the next thing we're preparing for, so obviously we're releasing Crucify on Friday, but we are playing a show opening for Evanescence with Poppy in September. So we're gonna debut some other new music that night. But yeah, we have so much coming out, and I wish I could just bleh tell you. But keep up with us, and you'll find out everything soon.
We will, I promise. We'll bother you again with all that stuff. All right, so now just extra questions, fun questions, to wrap everything up. When you guys think about all of the live shows that you've ever done as Holy Wars, what's the one that immediately comes to mind where it doesn't have to be because it was the awesome, like just maybe some crazy shit happened. Was there like one show in particular that you're like, oh my God, that show in Holy Wars history?
I mean, I would say Puerto Rico.
Yeah, probably Puerto Rico.
Yeah, we
What
opened for
was what was so memorable about that particular show?
Well, so we got the call that Evanescence wanted us to open, and it was just going to be us and Evanescence, and that was our first arena show. That was our first time sharing the stage with Evanescence, which getting that phone call is like, are you kidding me? So we didn't believe it was real, but yeah, and we had, I think it was like 10 days because they weren't going to have an opener because it was already pre-sold out, 2 nights sold out in Puerto Rico. But we heard they said our booking agent said Amy Lee is a fan and wants to know if you guys would be willing to come out. So we, of course, dropped everything and did it. I had like this nervous energy about it the whole time. I think sharing the stage with Amy and then playing it the first time in an arena, it was just a lot that I kind of like the Czech Republic experience that I was like, I don't know, I might have undersold it in my mind, but when we showed up, the fans were so welcoming, so warm and loving. And there was this one moment, it was during our second to the last song of the set. And, I kept like doing this like head bobbing motion with my arm. And it's kind of how like I perform every show. If we're in front of a smaller crowd, I perform it as if we're, like everybody gets the same show. Doesn't matter if there's 14,000 people in the audience or 40 people in the audience. So we looked up and the whole arena had their lights on and everybody was just doing this like head banging with their lights and it was completely unprovoked. We didn't ask them to do it. I've been to a lot of shows where like the singer will be like, everybody get your lights out for this like really emotional moment, which is cool. But they just gave us that emotion back. And it was like the first time where yeah, like you can see this visual reaction to of support and excitement for the music you're giving them. So it felt like such a gift they were giving us back. And yeah, the whole band, we were all caught off guard. Our drummer said he even was like getting a little weepy in the eyes, and he's like a big buff burly guy, and he was just like, "Oh my God, this is so special." So I think that one so far will still always be top tier for us because of just that moment that we all shared together.
Very, very cool. Okay, food questions because I'm a big foodie. What is both of you guys your favorite food right now that you're like, oh yeah, I can't live without
Chipotle.
Um, I do love Chipotle, but that is also uh, sort of because it's very convenient too. But favorite food, Kat is more of a foodie than I am.
I mean, I love Italian food. I grew up in the East Coast, so I will always say, you know, raviolis or eggplant parm or something like that. But yeah, I'm addicted to mac and cheese. I love mac and cheese as well. So anything carb loaded, I'm into. But yeah, you're very much tacos, burritos. That's your go-to usually.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, Pizza. I like pizza.
Pizza.
Yeah,
Yeah. We're sounding like real foodies here. We just like
Oh, no, that's cool. If someone's
basic.
traveling to LA for the very, very first time, right? They're going to LA for the first time. What would be okay, you have to go here to eat blank.
Oh my gosh. Oh. You know what? We moved out of LA. We're just a few hours away, but it's been a
Oh,
minute.
shit. Oh, okay.
We used to love home
yeah,
state tacos.
yeah. Home
Those were
state is
so good.
yeah. Actually, that would have probably been my answer. My foodie answer is
Mhm.
home state.
We don't have any home states
Yeah,
over
but
here.
that I love, which is just it's Tex-Mex.
Yeah, Tex-Mex, really
Yeah,
delicious.
yeah, that's really great.
Homestay,
But maybe one
something
of
more
those like
bougie, I would say, oh gosh, what's the place right next to the lodge room? Terrible at remembering this
oh,
stuff.
Checker Hall.
Checker Hall.
Yeah, that place is
It's the
great.
best feta dip. We love Mediterranean food as well, so it's the best feta dip I've ever had in my life, and the drinks are really good there. So Checker Hall. But yeah, there's so many places. I guess those
Maybe
two.
It's
one of those smash burger places that are very popular there in LA.
Oh yeah, I love smash burgers. Never say die. I love those smash burgers. That's in Silver Lake.
throughout all your touring thus far, is there a place where you guys are like, oh man, I hope we can play blank again so that you could blank again?
Mexico City. The food
Yeah.
was incredible in Mexico City. Um, Germany too had some great food.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say I first thing was Mexico City. All of us, we were like, it's so good, delicious.
Awesome. Okay. What are you guys listening to these days? No, no, no cool factor, none of that BS. Like, Nick, what are you listening to now that you're like, this is what I just listened to?
Um,
Should look on my Spotify.
the new Tyler, the Creator
Mhm.
album, I've been getting into that. It just came out like a day or two ago, and then I was listening to the producer Mike Dean. He did this album. It's all synthesizers and drum machines, and that I'm really enjoying. And then I try and listen to stuff that has like that doesn't sound super current. So now just like anything that's I will just type in 70s punk or early 80s punk and just try and hear some stuff that sounds very warm and raw, you know.
Oh, Kat,
I
what about yourself? What are you listening to?
I mean, I was like, let me pull up and give you the honest answer, but I'm re-listening to the Garden State soundtrack.
Okay. That's a great soundtrack. That's an awesome soundtrack. Yeah.
That's what's first up here. But yeah, I had a lot of Tyler the Creator. I was really into Doja Cat for a while. I am, but her last album, and Doechii. So a lot more hip hop leaning is what I gravitate towards these days, but I love everything. So yeah,
Very
it
cool.
depends on the mood.
And then finally, have you guys ever traveled to Costa Rica even for vacation?
No, but I want to. This sounds lovely and beautiful. Have you? You've toured with other artists.
Not to Costa Rica, I don't think. I
No.
don't think I've gotten the opportunity to even visit. Yeah.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that we can play any and every role in being able to bring you guys or help you guys in promoting the show here in Costa Rica. That would be phenomenal. Kat and Nick, I want to say thank you guys both so much for taking your time with us today here on La Dosis. Guys, again, If you haven't heard Holy Wars, you have to. The single for I Feel Everything has been on our website, the video for it on our on dosisradio.com. We will obviously be playing Crucify on air as well. Guys, thank you so much for being with us today. You guys are amazing. We have no doubts that you're going to be just trajectory going forward and headlining your own tours sooner than later. And hopefully, again, however we can help in getting you guys to play down here, we're all in Team Holy Wars.
I love that. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
guys. Thank you all.
Awesome, guys. Thank you.
Fresh already, I'm